GM.
Hi everyone, and we're continuing the speed run. We're nearly getting to 1800. Can you Adam and Eve it? Which would be fantastic. And again, the idea of these videos is to basically start as low down the rating as we can and show you the tactics you need to use to progress. And I'll try to do a couple of these speed runs, but let's get to at least 2200, 2400 before we try the next one. So I'm going to start with a French defense. At this range, 16 to 1800, I'm trying out slightly different openings, and the French defense is an opening I've played all my life. And you start with a solid thing, but you should know whatever opening you're doing. Now, when you're faced with a rare move, as this one is, what I generally try to do is not play the obvious move, which is pawn takes pawn, but try something which might confuse them back. I mean, this seems like a weird move because it takes away that square from the knight, and c5 is a very logical French defense move, as I want to bring my knights out behind the pawns. Let's just bring the knight out now. I'm not worried about an exchange here, because this exchange in the French defense, generally the light square bishop for white is his best piece, so I'm very happy to exchange it off. And again, just knowing these little things will help you greatly when you're understanding an opening. Which pieces are good, which pieces are bad, which should you be exchanging, which shouldn't you be exchanging. Not all video courses tell you this. And already, because of my slightly peculiar move order, my opponent has made a mistake. And this pawn has been out of place, just from this one very obvious move. And what is the problem with this move? Well, it weakens my opponent's king. And I'm now going to simply dive in with a check, and whatever my opponent plays, I'm going to pick up a very useful central pawn, going a nice pawn up for what I perceive as not much. The queens come off. Very happy to see the queens come off as well, because when you're material up, exchanging queens is great. And now I've got to convert this advantage with the two bishops and the extra pawn. Well, the first thing is I want to defend this. I could defend with a bishop, but then this pawn could be weak later on. Defending with a pawn is very natural. I've got lovely pawns here. And now I just need to play logical moves. I need to develop my pieces. I need to get everything in the game. Now, this knight is the only problem piece because, coming here. I'm also thinking what my opponent's trying to do. Is he trying to play b4? Maybe he's trying to do that kind of move. So, in actual fact, I'm just going to play a5 because before, it doesn't seem like my opponent's got many moves. So I'm just going to stop his ideas first. Remember, it's the idea of doing your own ideas but stopping your opponent. And again, where's this knight coming in? Well, I don't want to move the rook because I'd lose that pawn. I do kind of want to put my bishop here. Maybe I can actually, because bishop takes pawn, I take his knight and I win that one. This looks like the most active square for my bishop, and I always want to put my pieces on the most active squares, really. And I'm now got to think about these guys. And the natural idea for this knight, again, the thing with knights is you've got to find, don't just move them to one square and leave them there, then think. You've got to be thinking, where are they going to go, after that in the future? Where are they best placed on the board? And I think c6 is ideal because that pawn is weak. Now I could go here, and if he takes this pawn, I could go there, attacking the bishop, trying to get a central pawn. And if he comes in here, king d7 seems to win the pawn. So I'm going to continue developing my knight in the most harmonious way here. And this is my plan. And you can see at this rating level a little bit of calculation. I'm only using 2-3. Move calculation is important. So you've got to develop that. Exactly what I predicted, this position. And in actual fact now, if he doesn't play bishop d6, his bishop may be in real big trouble. Bishop here, rook b8 might trap it. So I think he's got to go bishop d6 and look at my beautiful, beautiful central pawns here. I mean, have you ever seen a better pawn formation? If I could get this one in as well, it'd be great. So I've got a beautiful position. Let's start using my assets because I've developed my pieces. My king is safe in the center because the queens are off the board. What is my strength? Where is my pawn structure strongest? In the center. So let's start playing in the area of the board where I'm strongest. Remember, that's where you should be looking in chess. Look at your pawns. Where are your pawns positioned best? That's the area of the board generally you should be concentrating on whilst trying to stop your opponent's counterplay on other areas. Now I've got a lovely couple of ideas here. This one looks great to me because this is a ready-made pass pawn. c4 was also very tempting. My opponent's knight is completely out of the game there, and I'm going to use my pawns to maximum effect here and bring another one in. I'm actually really enjoying this position at the moment. This is a great fun position to play. Domination in the center, space advantage. I might try to get my rooks to slightly better squares, and already now this move looks strong because his normal move b3 allows me to take here and get another 2 connected pass pawns coming through. And maybe I put my rook somewhere, one of these 2 squares behind my pawn. I might try to even push the h-pawn, open up another avenue and attack, because my opponent has no counterplay. You will notice in nearly all of these speedrun videos, that is my key thing that I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to do my own plans and stop my opponent's plans. And this is something you really need to strive to do yourself. So, okay, there's no threats here, so he hasn't got many moves I can see him doing. So I'm going to advance on this area of the board because I can't find a good move for my opponent. This move I feel only helps me because I straighten up my pawns. And how does it help my opponent? These 2 pawns connected, they stop his knight coming in. Beautiful. I think I could even just try to start using them immediately. Let's do that. Let's try to convert my main advantage. This bishop controls the light squares. If my opponent, okay, he comes back, I could push forwards again, but I'm also thinking his knight might want to come here. If I go here, he can come this way. I think I can push again. Let's just keep pushing them. Push them real good. And now I'd like to exchange off his only active piece, which is that knight. Is it coming here? I could even try to bring my king in, but then he has this check. So these are, I've got to be watching my time. I'm going to move my king forwards 1, give me the option of coming here. I might not go there because of the check, but my king looks very safe here. And I'm also going to probably, let's just defend that one. I can hear Charlie the cat screaming outside. He's the noisiest cat in the world. Pretty sure my girlfriend will be keeping an eye on him, so I don't have to worry too much about old Charles. But he's 19 years old now, Charlie. So he's had a, yeah, he's doing very well for his age. Okay, and now I've just got to watch my time and think of the best way to use my pawns. I think pushing this one so I keep my light squares open is all right. But my opponent still can't move anything. He can't get his rooks to any active squares. I've got my king even coming in here, haven't I, with these 2 coming up. It's really looking very hopeless. So let's go here, as I said, because also I take away this only active square for my opponent's rook. And now, well, I want to come in, but then there's a check. So let's try to think about how my rooks can play. This rook has done its job, so let's try to get it in. There's a checkmate threat. I'm just thinking if he pushes this pawn. Okay, his knight's come in. If I come forwards, there's a rook check, so I'm just going to step here. Even rook takes knight was a nice way to try and finish things off. I might not be winning this the best way, but you don't always need to. That knight's a bit annoying. Let's place some pressure on it. If it moves, I've got checkmate. And now I'm just going to try to get both of my rooks to the ideal squares, because again, he can't really move anything. He's not making any progress. So I'm just going to move this rook in with the idea of the other rook coming behind it. And this knight is now looking like it has to move, but if it does, checkmate is coming. And I'm just maximizing every piece to their full potential here. And there's nothing he can do. So quite a smooth game. But you can see how hard it is to win a game when you get an advantage. And this, one of the big problems with so many books is they, you know, old chess books, when one side gets an advantage, they always say, oh, it's just a matter of technique. And it's like, winning games is actually the hardest thing I find. Winning chess games is incredibly hard. You know, getting the winning position is often quite easy. As we saw here, all I did, he played a strange move in the opening, wanting me to take his some gambit line. I played a very natural response, and he went wrong immediately. I looked at this move. I know it's an odd move. Why is it an odd move? It weakens this diagonal, and his knight is dodgy. So I've got that in my mind, and I just saw that I can use those facts to win a simple pawn. So My opponent a very decent 1755, but he got in a lot of trouble there. Okay, back to the Chessbrah London. So we know this one well by now. Knight c3, bishop f4, first 3 moves. Now, if they play this one, you can also go e4, but I'm going to stick with stage 1. And now my recommended way of playing against this King's Indian Grunfeld idea is to play e4. I like this setup, and the general idea is, again, when you play any opening, you've got to know what your plans are and your opponent's plans, so you can stop them. The general idea here is queen d2, castles queenside. If he castles, bishop h6, h4, h5, take on g6, take on g7, queen h6, knight d5 to get rid of the knight, and then queen takes h7, checkmate. Okay, I'm glad I just covered that one for you guys. Now let's see if we can get it in. At this rating level, you know, my opponent's a very decent player, and it's very unlikely he's going to fall for such a brutish idea. But also, you know, that is our stage 1 idea, but we adapt to what opponent plays. So we can't just do this without looking at our opponent's moves. It's that stopping our opponent's play. It's that adapting that is important. Now, this move strikes me as a little bit odd because he can't castle. But I'm going to play very aggressively because he's wasted a lot of moves. He can't castle, so I'm going to take the most aggressive option. I might even have ideas of pushing his pawn. Okay, now he really wants to win this bishop. Maybe not completely stupid idea, but where's he going to put his king? Now he must play knight here and take this bishop now. This would be the only consistent plan in the structure. If he doesn't play that move, then I don't understand why he's just weakened his kingside position. So he has. Well played from my opponent, to be expected. And now I've got to think how these guys are coming out. And I think I want to put my bishop somewhere aggressive and put the knight here. If my knight goes to f3, it's going to get naturally hit by g4. And I think here, defending my centre looks like a good square. I don't want to move the knight there first because my bishop goes. So I'm just thinking very simply, let's move the bishop, a bit of pressure against that pawn, and move my knight. Then I'm going to have full development harmony. Do I don't know. that's from what's it? Harmony. Wizard stuff. I can't even remember the name. My God, I've read the books as well. I've got chess in my mind. Don't confuse my mind. Okay, anyway, back to the game. So, everything's gone very smoothly. I haven't done anything special at all in this game. Now, I'm just playing very normally. I've got many captures here. But again, I want to keep it simple. I'm going to capture with a pawn because we've got opposite side castling. And now I have an open file to an attack. It's as simple as that. I'm now looking at his king side and I'm thinking, okay, well, that's clearly what I want to target. I can't see anything immediate. Let's improve my pieces. Now, doubling up rooks seems very natural. These moves have weakened his king side. And again, it's looking at where your opponent is weakest when you're defining middle game plans, where you're strongest. And he's weakest on the king side. This move has weakened h5, so my brain is homing in on that. And I'm going to try to take advantage of that. There's no obvious way you can kick that piece away. I'm also looking on the queen side. His counterplay over here seems very, very slow. Okay, well, he's trying to get some action, but that's defended. Nothing to worry about at the moment. So let's continue with my plan and bring the rook over here. And now there's even ideas of rook takes h6, going for a very quick checkmate. I don't have to play tactically like this. I could also think about trying to play f4 and open things up like that. He's stopped this now because he's defending this. This is a very good move from my opponent. I'm going to play g4, a lazy move. I'm not calculating anything, but this seems to get a nice grip on some squares, and maybe my knight can come in this way later on. Okay, so he's played very well actually, and this move's come here, and now I see that my pawn's on pre. I don't want to play a negative move like this, but his king side is so weak. I've got 1, 2, 3 pieces attacking, and this bishop could be useful. But now I want to see if I can get more pieces in the game and open up more lines. Maybe opening this line could be very useful. And the move e5 to me, and I haven't calculated this, I'm just going with instinct. My knight can join in and hopefully sacrifice here. I'm not calculating anything. I'm just getting my pieces towards his king. 1 pawn down doesn't really matter when you're opposite side castling. If he goes queen here, again, I don't really need to calculate. I might just line my bishop up against the queen. That would be the very lazy move. And can he play there then? The other move is this one, where I'm going to have to do a bit of calculating. Let's have a look. Pawn takes, rook takes, queen here, and then we can see that this knight can come in. That looks very strong. And again, I'm just going to play this move without really calculating it very deeply. And I'm trying to show you how you can attack, maybe in a very strong way, with 1-2 move calculations. This could look like a brilliant game afterwards, where I've sacked a pawn, sacked a knight, but I'm not really thinking that far ahead. I'm just giving my pieces the best chances they can. I'm going on general principles. The general principles are, I've got an open file, I've got 2 pieces attacking, the queen's coming in, and my knight has a very nice way in as well. And knight here, even if he swaps queens, this knight coming over here looks devastating. And you can see now how the little g4 move has made this all possible. Knight h5 is a devastating idea here. Even bishop d3 was also interesting. When you're attacking, look at bringing in more pieces. Look at basically look at all your pieces that are active. If you can't do anything with all your active pieces, look at bringing in reinforcements, so your pieces that aren't involved in the area of board where you're trying to kill. So that's why something like bishop d3 looked natural. I'd like to go queen d3, but my queen's defending the rook. But this main idea of my knight coming here, or even e4. e4 is probably going to be winning somehow as well. If he moves his queen, there's a simple tactic. Rook takes bishop, king takes, and the queen does come to h6. Remember, right at the start of the game, we talked about the power of the open H file and the queen coming in. It's gone via a different route here, but actually it's pretty similar, right? It's pretty similar. This is actually pretty similar to what we looked at earlier on. Now I can now think about flairish moves. This move is winning, so I can start, being creative and going into the nether realm of creativity here, which I love doing. So queen here, a simple way to win, but queen takes, knight takes here. But can we, and that move, he can fight on, moving his rook and run away then. But is there something in taking, rook takes knight, rook takes bishop, king takes check, and then if king here, knight takes here, check, and then king f6, and again you can see I'm calculating a bit deeper now. Now this move doesn't seem to work for many reasons. Which one do I pick, here or here? I'm going to go for this one because of the very nice demonstration of my queen coming in, which we talked about right at the start, this idea of the queen coming to h6. Knight h5 was also winning. Did I? No, I didn't miss this one. We've got a lovely idea here. I thought I covered this one, and the idea pawn takes knight f6 is actually checkmate in the position. So a nice 20 move crush there, and we'll have a quick look at what my opponent did wrong there. But again, this might look like an amazing game, but I've just played very natural moves here. Okay, now we are going to bring our queen in. Why the hell not? Let's bring it here, and our rook is going to join in, and it's going to be checkmate. Next move with the queen also coming down to have a little bit of fun there on e7. Okay, so we're nearly at the 1800 mark, and my opponent there, this is all pretty normal. And he didn't know his opening theory. At this level, if you're going to play the perk, it's a very risky opening. I'm playing a line I give in my Chessbrah London course. You can just buy that course if you want to super accelerate your learning. And he, on Chessbrah I should say, and on GingerGM, my own site. And he played this move, which I don't really trust, because if he ever castles, he loses this pawn. So his king is stuck in the middle. For that reason, I castled queenside, playing the most aggressive move. He now followed up with this idea, which might be okay, but after bishop here, he really needs to proceed cautiously. Castling to me seems a little bit wrong. I would, if I was black, be concentrating on trying to start some counterplay on the queen side immediately, because he never got a chance to do anything aggressive towards me. A couple more mistakes he made. I'm playing normal moves. Why this move? This move seems like the losing move to me. It doesn't do anything. It's one of those artificial moves. Be careful moving pieces into your opponent's half of the board. They might just get shooed away. Much more normal would be, again, try to get the knight out now. Again, try to get b5, b4, some attack going. But this move loses a very important tempo. And he also now opens up the h file, another slight mistake. And I would argue the bishop is even worse here than it is on c8, because the knight might have needed to come over towards the king to defend it. And I think from this moment onwards, it's probably losing. So again, some small mistakes from my opponent there. We'll make this the last game of this little video. Can we get over 1800 here? Me and my opponent, exactly the same rating. And again, I'm just going to play my normal Chessbrah system. So effective, I think, and so easy to learn. Stage 2, we go e3, and we try to bring our bishop and knight out. Now this move, I could bring my knight out, but he's really asking me to play another common plan in Chessbrah London, which is f3 and advancing with these pawns. And he's walking straight into it. So I'm going to play, I want to play g4 first, bishop here, h4. But I'm going to play it this way around because it gives my opponent a chance to lose a piece. Because now I'm threatening g4 and h5, winning a piece. And also now that he's played this one, he should have played bishop g6. I'm going to play bishop d3 because if bishop ever moves there, I'm going to really ruin his pawn structure. So again, I'm just thinking about what my opponent's done. This move's a little bit odd. I've done some very simple moves. I've attacked it, standard plan in the Chessbrah. I've gone for my pawn advance over here. And already my opponent has a very bad position here. Done nothing special. I just know the opening well, which you can as well if you buy the Chessbrah course. Or again, if you don't want to buy it, I've got loads of free videos on my YouTube channel, which I go over it in immense detail as well. So up to you. The course on Ginger Gem is only £20, which I think is a pretty good price. And on Chessable it's a bit more, but it's the most intense, thorough course you'll get. Okay, now again, I played normal moves. Let's try to work out my opponent's weaknesses. Well, it's clear that these two squares are weaknesses. Where do I want to put my king? If I go this way, it looks a bit funny because my pawns have gone forwards. So I think I want to castle queenside. So by going queen d3, I start to attack and I get, it fits in with a harmonious development of my pieces. My knight here, I feel, just wants to come here, maybe here to attack that one again. I can even play h5 now. Very tempting move with the idea of bringing the queen in here. But I feel at the moment it makes more sense to save this here, takes here. I mean, I could even go queen here if I want to. So that would be very good. There's one situation where I might look for a better idea. If I take here, he goes queen g3 check. So I just got to watch out for this one. This one very, very tempting. But his king moves and I don't win a lot of material. So I feel that, let me get this right, yeah, it was this move. This move is probably the most accurate way because I'm going to get substantial material gains. Now I think he should try to get the check in, but I don't think one check without any backup is anything to be scared of. And like I say, after the pawn goes here, I can bring my queen around to cover it. But the main thing is I'm won a pawn and I'm going to be winning a rook. So again, you could say this is now a matter of technique, but this is where it generally gets hardest. Don't relax now. We've got to keep playing the same energetic way. We want to keep the initiative up. We want to stop, when you've got the advantage, stop our opponent getting activity. Make exchanges where you can. And don't play too passively. Never play too passively, even when you've got the advantage. Because your opponent, you know, you don't want to give your opponent the initiative. And playing passively is really just saying to your opponent, come on, you know, it's time. Okay, so this is another actually decent idea coming this way. And I think we will take the rook with check. Why not? Now I think this check is only one check because I've got knight e2 kicking it away. So I think I can safely take this pawn, being really greedy here. And my king seems pretty safe when it gets here. And if he doesn't go for the check, well, I can simply castle. And at the end of the calculations, I'm gonna just avoid any check here because I might want to go g5. That check, I still can't play it, but I'm just gonna move my king out the way. It's safer to prepare against this. And now he's gonna go for some desperado attack. So we might go a3 to stop the queen coming in, but it's my move first. So let's start our attack here. And again, remember what I said about trying to watch out for your opponent's initiative when you've got a winning position, a material advantage. So you've got to be very wary of what your opponent's trying to do. And these two moves are the two moves that are most scariest. But when this comes in, I think a3 stops everything. So let's open up his king as much as we can first. So knight here, he wants to come in here, but then I will open it up more. Okay, now his queen's come to the other side of the board. I'm happy to see that. So I'm naturally going to move my rook now to try and get in the game. This square and this square are very tempting squares for where I'm going to move my rook next. If the knight comes in here, I'll move my queen there. I'm looking at all his active moves and making sure I have a good response. Knight here doesn't worry me because his queen can't come in. So again, I'm looking at all those active moves. I know I've got a good response up my sleeve because I don't want him gaining activity. He can't attack my queen with any piece. My queen is very safe there. And again, I want to sort of maybe double up on the area of the board I'm strongest. Okay, where's that knight going? Okay, so we've got to watch out. Knights are very tricky pieces. But I think, again, with some basic calculation, rook here, knight here, queen takes here, knight takes here, here I'll be a piece up. So I'm going to continue. I don't want to play passively. As soon as I go really defending all of his threats without doing anything myself, things can start to go wrong. So I want to keep playing in the most aggressive way I can. I don't want to play negative chess. I will watch out for the queen coming here. You know, the position, he's made it a little bit more complicated. Queen here now, he has these two threats. So let's see if we can think in advance what we're going to do against this one. Is this really scary? It does seem a little bit scary, actually. So queen here is a little bit annoying with those two threats I've noted. Now this is going to, okay, now this one seems like his queen's going totally the wrong way to me. And I think I can just go here and forking these two pieces. He needed, again, my opponent went too passive. Had he moved his queen there with the idea of coming over here, he would have got counterplay. When you're material down, you just got to go for it. He went too defensive there. He's trying to defend his king, but he had to just go for my king. Even if he was losing anyway, it makes no difference. He had to do it. And actually now I've got a number of ways to win. Taking here is simple, but this one is quite nice because if he moves his king, I take his queen, and because of the pin on the pawn, there's no escape for my opponent here. He's multiple material down. Okay, well, there we go. We're over 1800. Woo, woo. The next stage is the over 1800 stage. And do remember, I hope these videos are helping. We're going to keep going up, and then we'll start again at the bottom, trying out particular openings. In this first speed run I'm doing, I'm just trying multiple different openings, really. But do remember, please like and subscribe to my channel. You know, I want to keep doing these free material. I need to keep having a bit of growth, you know, because it takes a lot of time putting effort into giving free material that you can all absorb, you know, as well. And obviously, if you want to support me, then there's various things you can buy on my various websites. Bye.